Good evening, everybody, and it's really nice to be back tonight. I've been away and I've missed the last 2 Tuesdays. So today I'm recording this on Tuesday, the 8th of March, known to be International Women's Day. So I thought I'd bring you a special live, especially for women tonight. Most of my lives are suitable for both men and women, but this one I thought I'd dedicate especially for you lovely ladies out there and talk about the supplements, the top supplements that I think are really important to consider for women sort of around about the age of 40. Now, with supplements, why is it we need to supplement? I want to go through that, what to look for, and then come on to the ones that I've particularly picked out. Now, when I was studying, and I've heard comments made in the past that, supplements are just expensive urine. Well, there are possible reasons for that, which I'll come on to talk about as well. But I think today, the reason why we do need to supplement is the fact that first of all, our soils are really depleted. If you look at the soil quality and the nutritional status of minerals in soils, if you go back to like the 1950s to today, our soils are severely depleted, particularly minerals like selenium and zinc and magnesium and phosphorus. The mineral content is much lower, so the uptake into our plants, into our vegetables is significantly lower. When you add on to that the fact that we go to supermarkets, we buy vegetables and things that have been transported long distances, often stored for long periods of time, that also starts to deplete the nutritional value as well. And then you add on to that the demands that are placed on us with our busy lifestyles, the stress that we find ourselves under in our modern lifestyles, and that places additional demands. Our adrenal glands that are pumping out our stress hormones use up particular nutrients at high quantities like magnesium, zinc, certain B vitamins and vitamin C. These minerals and vitamins are needed in other significant areas for our overall health. If they're being used up to manage our stress response, then we can be depleted and not have sufficient to fulfill the other roles that they are required for. And we may not always be eating nutrient-dense food because of busy lives or to the best of our abilities. And the more we rely on things like processed food, it's not going to deliver nutritional value to us. In fact, we could find ourselves in what we call nutrient depletion, because the foods for the body to process food, extract the goodness from it, to digest it, to break it down, to absorb it, and to try to put it to good use, could actually use up more nutrition than it's providing. So we get a deficit, a nutrient deficit in trying to do that. Now, it can be really tricky, can't it, to try and find your way through this maze of supplements. We are bombarded, I know myself. You see it online, you see it in print advertising, you go to the health food shop, you go to the supermarket, you go to other places, and you find other companies now also promoting supplements all the time. Where do you start? How do you know what you actually need to get? How do you actually know that what you're going to buy is of the right quality for what you actually need? So many supplements are poorly formulated. Now there's three potential reasons for this. First of all, they may not be of any significant nutritional value. So it may say it's an omega-3 supplement, or it may say it's vitamin C, but how do you know it's actually going to be providing the amount that you actually need that's going to provide what I call a therapeutic benefit to you? How do you know you actually need that for your own body? A lot of supplements, they are not in the most absorbable form. This is the area that I spend a significant amount of my time and have done through my training and in all the years since, understanding what potency and what formulation do we need that's going to provide the best therapeutic benefit to your body, what's going to be well absorbed from the gut into the bloodstream and then transported to where it's needed in the body. Because you can buy supplements that may say on the tin and on the label that it's got X amount of something, and of course the marketing comes across in a very clever way, but it doesn't mean it's going to be doing that much good for you. And a lot of them are actually filled with what I call quite cheap nasties. You're going to find some are have lots of fillers in them. There's what I call chemical nasties, or they might add some cheap sweeteners, and certain sweeteners are actually not doing our gut, and some of these fillers and things are not doing our gut and our microbiome any good at all. And of course, most of you will know by now, this is my area that I'm passionate about. We have to take care of our microbiome as well if we're going to take care of our health. So what do we need to look for? I do just need to say that whilst I believe everything I'm going to talk about is very, very safe for the vast majority of individuals, if you are taking medications, I need to cover myself to say that you should be careful and to check for contraindications. This is part and parcel of what I do in my private practice with clients anyway. If you're not sure, then you can go to a health food shop, or you could look online and just check. But just be a little bit careful if you are on certain medications. However, most of what I'm going to go through here, in fact, really everything I'm going to go through is safe. It is safe in the vast majority of cases. So the ones I've picked out here are supplements that are going to provide support for energy. You know, if you're feeling fatigued, they're going to help with energy production. They're going to help with hormone health. They're going to help with brain health as we're getting older. And they're going to help with the structure in the body, bone structure and skin and other areas like that. And they're also going to help with your body cope better with the demands of stress. As I said, the adrenal glands are always pumping out adrenaline and cortisol if we're always under demands of stress. And so this is going to help us, and what I'm going to talk through here is going to help us with that as well. These are not really in any particular order. So I'm going to start with number one, and I am actually going to say that this tends to be pretty much at the top of my list most of the time, and it's magnesium. Magnesium is one of the most wonderful supplements that you can take. It is a really safe supplement to be taking, and the reason why I've put it right at the very top is going back to the soils being depleted and the demands from stress in the adrenal glands, which uses up a lot of magnesium in the body. It can therefore leave us very deficient in its needs in other areas. Now, magnesium is needed in over 300 processes in the body. It's an amazing mineral, and that's why I put it right at the top. Just to give you some areas in, these 300 processes, I couldn't possibly go through them all, but just to say that it's very important in the production, helping the body produce energy. One of our main sources of fuels of energy is coming from glucose. Glucose has to be oxidized and burnt to create ATP energy. Magnesium is really needed to help in this process, like a cofactor. It's needed to help in the energy production. So energy, if you're low on energy, I always think of magnesium. It's needed in the natural circadian rhythm cycle. So it's helping you wake up when you need to wake up. It's helping you go to sleep, and in the production of melatonin as well, and dopamine. So we need this in the natural circadian rhythm. It's also, as I said, used up for stress, and so it can be depleted. So the adrenal glands need huge quantities of this. It's needed for thyroid hormone production, and it's needed for the balance and metabolism of our female hormones as well. It's commonly known as nature's tranquilizer, so it can be very helpful to keep us calm. Those that are feeling signs of anxiety, if we're under a lot of stress as well, taking magnesium can just take the edge of things and help us feel calmer throughout the day. Brilliant at that. And it's also involved in relaxing muscles synergistically with calcium. So calcium tenses muscles, magnesium just helps to relax everything. So it can also be helpful for things like asthma, headaches and migraines. Magnesium can be really useful for that, even in signs of mild constipation. So many ways we need it. Now, the amount that I normally recommend in a very safe amount is 300 milligrams of magnesium. And the main formula that I recommend clients take this in is magnesium citrate. You can get it in powders, you can get it in tablets, you can get it in capsules. It's not an expensive supplement. And you can also get it in sprays, and sprays are really brilliant, obviously not on the face, but spraying it onto the skin, not on any sores or cracks in your skin. But if you've got tight muscles, then magnesium is absolutely brilliant for taking the, just to relax those muscles as well. Number one, I've spent enough time talking about magnesium. Let me move on to my second supplement, and this is to do with the essential fats known as EPA and DHA. Now, I use the word essential because the body cannot manufacture these fats for itself, and we have to take them in the diet, but they are critical for our health. And most people don't consume enough of the sources of these to get sufficient into the diet, hence the need for supplementation. So the fats have a highly anti-inflammatory role in the body. Most disease states in the body come from inflammation, and many people may not realize that we are sort of always have this element of inflammation going on in the body, and so we send out these fats send out anti-inflammatory messengers around the body, helping the body to come out of that inflammatory state. So number one, anti-inflammatory. The brain is made up of 60-70% of these fats called EPA, DHA. So really important for the structure and function of the brain. Very important in our memory, cognition, helping the brain function, keeping it healthy into older age, for low mood and for depression as well. Every nerve ending, it has these fats in the nerve endings, helping the transmission of neurotransmitters and chemicals along them. And our cell membranes contain these fats, so helping to keep the cell membranes permeable, allowing nutrients in and toxins out. They're also involved in the precursor to our female sex hormones. They come from steroid hormones. We need fats for that. So to make progesterone and estrogen, then we need these fats, particularly through the adrenal glands as we get older, because we don't get these hormones from our ovaries. And they help protect our body from cardiovascular disease. And what you may not know, and a statistic that I found when I was researching this, is that women are twice as likely to die of cardiovascular disease as breast cancer. And we always think of breast cancer as our number one killer for women, but it's heart disease. So we need to make sure we're getting plenty of these good fats into the diet. So you may have heard of omega-3. Now, omega-3 has to be converted in the body to these fats known as EPA, DHA, but the conversion is very, very poor. Oily fish is rich in EPA, DHA, and that's why if you've got a good intake, 3 portions a week of fish like salmon, mackerel and sardines, you're going to be getting a good intake. But for most of us, and myself included, I can't rely on always getting enough essential fats and this oily fish into my diet, particularly when you've got a husband who doesn't like these fats. And so I always make sure I am taking these fats almost on a daily basis, depending on whether I'm including the fats in my diet. What I'm looking for is to have a pure source. So when you're looking to buy this, you're not looking at the omega-3 content, you're looking at the EPA and DHA content. And what you need is 750 to 1000 milligrams of those two fats combined in a supplement on a daily basis, which is going to give you a good intake of those fats to really keep the body healthy. You want to look for a pure source. You want to check the packaging to make sure that the fish that are used to make these supplements are coming from pure sources and that they've checked them for heavy metals and things like PCBs, because our seas, our oceans, unfortunately, are so polluted. So we need to check that the sources that are used to manufacture these supplements are very, very pure. So number 3 in my supplement list is vitamin D3. I'm sure a lot of you will have heard of the importance of supplementing vitamin D. It needs to be in the form of D3, and it's really important that you supplement it all year round. Now, you may know it's the sunshine vitamin, and you may think that when we're outside in the sunshine in the summer that you're going to be getting enough, but we cannot guarantee in the Northern Hemisphere, if that's where you live, and most of my people watching this are from the UK in the Northern Hemisphere, that we're going to be getting sufficient intake of these fats. We lack it. You know, we spend our whole winter covered up and the sun is too low in the sky to be getting the right amount of the sunshine to be absorbed directly through the skin to manufacture vitamin D3. It's actually a hormone, but we know it as a vitamin D3. Now, why do we need it and why is it so essential? It's absolutely essential for the absorption of calcium from the gut and into the bloodstream. And as we know, calcium is not the only thing, but one of the main factors in providing and building strong bones. So we know if we want to prevent osteoporosis, we need calcium, but we must include vitamin D3 to make sure we're getting enough of that calcium getting into the bloodstream from our dietary sources that are coming through our gut. It's absolutely critical for immune function and nothing else. There's lots of other factors and nutrients important for immune function, but nothing else can replicate the roles that vitamin D3 has. It's really protective against, autoimmune conditions. It helps to prevent cancer cells replicating, and it's important in reducing inflammation, like I mentioned before. And most disease states do start with inflammation at its core. So we do need to get that vitamin D into our diet. So whilst you may get some from the sunshine, do supplement vitamin D3 the entire year round, and you need 1000 IU. Nothing lower than that. What may be on the NHS website is not sufficient to be creating enough D3 into the body, not so much that it's driving vitamin D3 too high. 1000 IU is a safe amount that you should be taking all year round. Now, the fourth one on my list may surprise you because it's not one of the core nutrients that you may be thinking of, but for women's health, I've included collagen. Now, collagen is a really important component of connective tissue. Now, connective tissue is our bones, our ligaments, our tendons, cartilage, skin, nails, hair. I think I've included all the main sources. It's important for structure and important for like skin, for the elasticity of our skin. And we know that as we get older, we start to see the signs of lines and wrinkles as we're getting older. And one of the main reasons as women, and this is quite shocking, is that when we go through the menopause, in those first 5 years after the menopause or through the menopause, we lose 30% of our collagen. So we want to think about keeping all our connective tissues as strong and functional as it can be to support us from structural integrity. And of course, us ladies like to make sure we're taking care of our skin. We don't like the wrinkles. We want to keep our skin elasticity as good as it possibly can be. Now, the best type of collagen is marine collagen, hydrolyzed type 1 marine collagen, 500 milligrams daily. I think this is a very, very helpful thing to be using as ladies going forward, because we can't guarantee we're going to get enough collagen through our dietary sources. Yes, we may make bone stock and things like that, but how often do we make it? How often are we consuming it? You may be vegan, you may be vegetarian, and you won't be getting it that way. Personally, I have a particular supplement that I like. It's by BioCare, and it's a collagen complex that also includes, I have to pronounce this right, hyaluronic acid that helps to retain the water and keep the skins plumper and hydrated. It also includes vitamin C that helps to prevent against oxidative damage and stress that can really damage the skin. And a few other bits and pieces as well. So you may want to look for something over and above just pure marine collagen. You may want to think about the hyaluronic acid and things like vitamin C, potentially zinc as well. Now, my final supplement tonight, I think I'm running over, is just to say, do think about including a high strength, high quality multivitamin and mineral, because that way you're going to make sure you've got a real catch-all, making sure that there's nothing missing. I would still keep the essential fats because you won't get them in a multivitamin and mineral, and I would still keep the magnesium, because you cannot capture the amount of magnesium that you need in a multivitamin and mineral, particularly if it's in a capsule or a tablet. The one I use at the moment is a powdered formula and has a reasonable amount of magnesium in it, because you can get far more in a scoop of powder than you can obviously in 1 or 2 little capsules. you want to look for something that's as pure as possible. I wouldn't go, I'm going to say it now, I wouldn't go looking for your cheap supermarket brands. And you really want to read the packaging, because a lot of them are just going to say they contain like the daily nutrient value, like what used to be called the RDA, 100%. To be honest, that's not really going to provide the amounts you need, particularly for things like B vitamins. Don't be alarmed if you find a really good quality one that's got, 500% of the RDA, 1000% of the RDA. You might be a little bit alarmed to see that, but with B vitamins, they're water soluble, they're not retained in the body, they're not harmful to the body. And we use huge quantities. Again, this goes back to the stress response when you use huge quantities of B vitamins through the adrenal glands. B vitamins like vitamin B12, many people are finding deficiencies of B12 at the moment, and very important for energy production. They're needed for the nervous system, they're needed for brain health, they're needed for hormonal balance. So a good quality multi with high levels of B vitamins, trace minerals like selenium and zinc, maybe a little bit of iron, may not be in postmenopausal supplements. If you're still if you're not menopausal, then you would need to think about an iron supplement, not so much if you're postmenopausal. So these are my top 5 supplements: magnesium, vitamin D3, essential fats EPA, DHA, collagen, and a good quality multivitamin and mineral. Of course, there are many other things on the market, but I would just say if you're going to think about anything, those would be my starting points without delving into specific symptoms and your own specific conditions and complaints that you may have. Hope you found that helpful. I'm always on the lookout for new topics. Do drop me a message. You can put messages in here at any time, respond to any of my messages here, privately DM me. Always want to hear what you'd like to hear more about. And do remember, come and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Peyton Principles Natural Health. I'm really trying to build up my subscribers to 100, because then I can personally brand my YouTube channel. Anything you can do to help me get to that, I would appreciate it. But I'll be back next Tuesday at 6 o'clock on another topic that I hope you'll find useful. Thanks so much for watching tonight. Have a lovely week and enjoy the rest of International Women's Day. Take care. Bye.